Welcome to the Cutmaker Podcast, your home for all of your DFS and bets on the PGA Tour. My name is Jeff Seeley, a.k.a. Cutmaker Jeff, and this week we have our friend Erik Barnes rehabbing an injury, but man, guy played on Korn Ferry last year, earned his PGA Tour card, and the nice part about this Rocket Mortgage is he knows a ton of these guys. Played with them on Korn Ferry, played with them on the PGA Tour, knows a ton of these guys, has some really good insight in this really fun episode. Erik's tremendous in so many ways to talk to, and just having a guy who's inside the ropes, who's playing regularly, or at least he was until a few weeks ago when he got hurt, is invaluable to us. So enjoy the show. I know you're going to enjoy the conversation. Erik told me one guy he was picking last night and changed it up a little bit today, but I think two guys you'll see he likes a lot. 3 or 4 guys we both like a lot. So enjoy the show, and make sure you follow me at Cutmaker Jeff. You follow the podcast at Cutmaker Pod. Join our Telegram channel. You don't want to miss any of that stuff, any of the plays we make Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Sunday, I guess, all weekend long. And that, enjoy the show. We got our friend Erik Barnes here joining us for the Rocket Mortgage. Erik, thanks for coming on again, buddy. And this is a week, man, where literally anybody can win.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not a deep field. I mean, like you said, looking at the list, I mean, you've got, 15 of the top, maybe 50 golfers in the world. You don't have a ton, but, I mean, you got like Keegan Bradley coming off a win and, Tony Finau being like the past champion. But, yeah, you've got, I mean, it's a tournament where anybody can win. You said it best.
Well, and what's crazy is the odds on this. In the past 4 years, man, a 300-1 is one. When Nate Lashley was 300-1 when he won, and Bryson was 7-1 when he won. So we've seen the entire range between. It's been pretty crazy. One of the guys, obviously, you mentioned Tony Finau. One of the guys who's been playing phenomenal golf here, who's tied for the odds-on favorites, Ricky Fowler. I can't bet Ricky Fowler at this price, but man, I mean. Are you going to be looking at him in the Open? Do you think he's live to win the Open?
Look, Ricky plays good in majors, and he's never obviously won a major, but he's won the Players, which is like a major. He wouldn't be where I'd look first, but if he continues to play well like this week, then maybe that's somewhere you'd start looking. Maybe, I mean, obviously in this field, he's tied for having the worst odds to win or best odds to win. Yep. But that's just based on his field. So I'd like to see how he plays this week before I make that call.
So, going down the board a little bit, Morikawa is 16-1, Max Homa is 18-1. These guys have been struggling a little bit. I mean, look at Homa. He missed the cut at the Travelers. I can't imagine how pissed he was to miss the cut at the U.S. Open. I mean,
being a California kid, that hurts, man. Like that's like when I was playing back when I was playing on the Korn Ferry Tour. When we had that event in Evansville, Indiana, the Tour Championship, if I missed the cut, it just felt like it was kicking the nuts, right? Like you want to make it so bad. It's just that added pressure, really. I mean, like you said, maybe he's not playing his best golf right now, but I mean, those guys, some of these guys are so good, man. It doesn't take but like one little thing on the driving range, and off the races they go.
Well, and it's funny. I'll talk about that with a guy down here in a little bit. But I mean, one of the guys I bet this week, Hideki. I mean, his form has been good. His irons are good. With Hideki, right, it just comes down to can he make putts. I know you can say that about a lot of guys, but at least if his putting's neutral, his wedges are so good. He's insane.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's one of the most influential golfers on the planet. He's arguably, other than like Tiger Woods, the biggest name in golf. Just because of how big golf is over there, but. He is a stud, man. Like when he's playing good, he's hard to handle. And like you said, you kind of say the same thing about Tony Finau with the putter, right? Like Tony Finau, when he gets that putter going, I played with him at Torrey this year. And I mean, like he made like 3 15-footers in the first 3 holes for par. So it was like, all right, he's playing good. And he shot 8 under that day, right? Like he just got his round flowing. So both those guys are, if they get their putters hot, like they can win, right? Like I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to win, but they could.
Well, so Erik, what a guy who really got off to a hot start, and I mean, you probably saw it because you had a really good swing season, and a guy who also had a really good swing season was Tom Kim,
Yeah.
and he came in really kind of guns blazing in the season. Really cooled off though, man. Like from February through June, he was struggling. Did rebound all of a sudden, took 8th at the U.S. Open. What do you think about him this week? Do you think 22-1 is a fair price, or well, I mean, obviously, he took 7th here last year. He's best liked the course. All right. Form's coming back around. You have any interest in Tom Kim?
The only reason I have interest in Tom Kim right now is because he shot 9 at the U.S. Open, right? So it's there. He's just not putting it all together for like 4 days. But Clearly his game's getting better because, you saw him every single week at the top of the leaderboard there for, the whole beginning of the year, end of last year, early this year. And then all of a sudden he went cold. And I was like, man, I wonder if Tom Kim got hurt. No, he just wasn't playing well. But when you shoot 29 in the U.S. Open, like I'm pretty sure he shot 29 in the U.S. Open, didn't he?
Yeah, he went super low. Yeah.
And he ended up shooting like only what did he shoot? He shot like even par in the back nine or one over in the back nine, so he only shot like 500 or 600 that day. But like, if you can shoot 29 at any U.S. Open, like you're playing good. So it's there. It's just a matter of putting it all in perspective. I mean, I don't know Tom very well. I've actually never met him, so I don't really know his game, and I've unfortunately never played Detroit Golf Club. But 22-1, the way he was playing earlier in the year is great odds. It just currently, I don't know.
I'm curious, what do you think about Donald Ross courses in general, right? Because I think you see people talk about Pete Dye courses a lot. I live on a Pete Dye course. I love Pete Dye courses. But Donald Ross courses certainly have, that the old kind of back to front green slope and some certain things, some certain characteristics. Some people play well on them. Why do you think it is that some people just continually play well on Donald Ross course? They just fit their eye, or what do you think? What do you think of them from your game, and what do you think of them in general, and why some people play better than others?
Yeah, Donald Ross greens are you just don't ever want to hit it pin high off the side of the green or over the back of the green. That's really what it comes down to. I think Donald Ross greens are better when they've been redone and done like Donald Ross would be okay with it, right? Like softened, because back when he was building golf courses, the greens rolled like a 6 on the stimp meter, so like you could have 4 degrees of slope on the entire green. It wasn't a big deal. Nowadays with the green speeds, there's a Donald Ross course here in town called Sarah Bay. If the greens were rolling 12, you couldn't putt them. Like before, you couldn't putt them. Like certain greens were just unplayable. But they softened them. They kept them like the whole Donald Ross feel, same kind of concept, but they softened them. But as far as Donald Ross golf courses are concerned, you don't want to miss a green pin high, and you don't want to miss it long. Pin high you can get away with, but like just past pin high, long a pin high is death, because it generally always goes up to the back of the green and then falls off the back, so you're always having to hit an elevated pitch shot to a downslope on a PGA Tour golf course. Is firm and fast green. So I don't know what the weather's like. I know they just got some storms, so it's probably pretty soft there, which will help scores. That's probably why Tony said 30 under could win. But I think with the Donald Ross course, you just have to be smart, right? Like you get out of position and you're hitting a punch shot up to the green. You got to hit it short of the green. Don't ever try to like run one up back there and hit it over the back of the green, because that's just calling for bogey.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned 30 under and a guy who I know can make a ton of birdies, and really comes down to putting. He's been in really good form lately. You may even know Benny On from, he played on Corn Ferry not too pretty recently too. But he's a guy who can rack up tons of birdies, whose ball striking's elite. If it is soft conditions, 50-1 on Ben On's pretty good price, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. My only thing with Ben On is I haven't seen him like contending that much. Ben's a really good player. He had his tour card for quite a while, came from Europe, lost it, kind of struggled, went back to the Corn Ferry Tour, and then bang, he got his card back again. And now, like you said, he's playing better. And at 50-1, you put $10 on it to win 500 is not a bad gig, right? So it just depends. It's hard. It's really hard for me to say, because I haven't been on tour in 14 weeks. So unless I'm watching them on TV, I don't really know players' forms and or what the golf course is like. So
sure.
But yes, Ben's a great player. 51 odds are not bad at all. But I could give you one name that I kind of like.
Well, I was going to say, is right below him. When I text you my model last night, the first name you mentioned to me was Austin Eckroat.
Yeah, I love Austin Eckroat. He's playing really good. He's a guy that like was a world beater coming out of college. Like he was supposed to be the next big thing, and it just took him some time. But it's like now that he like had the time on the Korn Ferry Tour to like kind of learn about his game. I played with him when he first got through PGA Tour U out of Oklahoma State, and nicest guy ever. Tons of game, but just couldn't quite get the wheels going, right? Like you're seeing guys like, I don't even want to pronounce the guys' last names that just got one on the Korn Ferry Tour from college because I'd mess them up. But back-to-back winners on the Korn Ferry Tour, straight out of PGA Tour U, pretty unbelievable. And, you're starting to see the PGA Tour U success, but Austin has got that kind of game, right? And he got his PGA Tour card a year and a half, 2 years after, or a year and a half after he got out there for PGA Tour U. Kind of off to a slow start and then started rolling, and he's rolling nicely.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. And his form's unbelievable. I mean, 24th, 10th, 30th, 16th, and 2nd, his last 5 events speaks for itself. I mean, he's a great bet. 55-1. I actually bet him at 55-1. Moved down the board a little bit. A guy that I bet you and I talked a little bit last night, and I think is probably your favorite pick to win. A guy who at any tournament you play and you got to make putts. I personally believe that after Denny McCarthy, I think this guy's the second best putter on tour. Justin Suh is absolutely phenomenal putter. Obviously won the Korn Ferry Championship last year. He's struggled a little bit with his irons, but boy, if he can put it all together, there's no reason he can't win this tournament. You obviously have played with him. What are your thoughts on Suh this week? And I mean, God, he's a good putter.
Yeah. He's just solid, man. Like he just never. I'll give you another name of who I actually think is the best putter on the planet. It's Taylor Montgomery.
Okay, yeah.
I think Taylor Montgomery is the best putter on the planet. But next to those guys, yes, we're talking Denny McCarthy, and I actually was joking with Denny McCarthy about having competition for best putter in the world with Taylor Montgomery at the beginning of this year, and he kind of laughed it off, haha. But Taylor's pretty good, and now Justin is doing the same thing, right? There's every time these guys hit a 15-footer, it either goes in or it scares the hole. Like they don't hit bad putts, and their speed is so good all the time. I mean, Justin at the beginning of the year, I didn't want to say he got a slow start on the Korn Ferry Tour, but he was just kind of like plotting along, making cuts, missing cuts, and bam, all of a sudden, the second half of the year, he was like lit the world on fire, and he was beating everybody left and right, and kind of similar on the PGA Tour this year. And then all of a sudden, whammo, kind of 8 or 10 events into the season, it's like just knocking on the door all the time. I mean, you see him knocking putts in at the U.S. Open. He's obviously a really good player. He's one of my, if I was going down to that, 50 to 70 to 1 odds kind of range, that's somebody I'd really be looking at.
Yeah, for sure. I love Sud. We got to talk about your boy here. I mean, Shank was cruising. He was struggling a little bit. Then he was cruising a couple great. And then, he's been struggling again. What are we going to do this week? Do you think he can find something to get back in form here? You think he can get to 30 under?
I mean, yeah, of course he can. I mean, if he has a great week, he can. I mean, anybody can. Adam is a terrific player, like I said last week or 2 weeks ago at the podcast. Yeah. Great friend of mine. What I love about Adam is he knows exactly what his golf game is. Like Adam doesn't really have a coach. He really doesn't have a club contract. He just kind of like plays golf the way he plays golf. He hits balls on his farm and his dad's farm and just outside of Evansville, Indiana. He likes to do his own thing, and he knows exactly what's going on. So I haven't talked to Adam since the week before the U.S. Open, so I don't know exactly how he's playing. Golf's so hard, though, right?
But you've got confidence that if anybody can figure it out, he can figure it out.
Oh yeah, no doubt. He's not in this long slump, right? Like he's playing unbelievable, damn near won 2 or 3 times on the PGA Tour in the last 3 months. And I mean, okay, he misses the cut at the U.S. Open. Pretty freaking easy to do in a U.S. Open, right? Like based on what I saw at the U.S. Open, it's like if you were hitting it good, you could make a ton of birdies. If you were off, you were going to make a ton of bogeys. So he could have been close. He just maybe hit some bad shots at wrong times and ended up missing the cut. And then I didn't even see how he played the Travelers last week. I honestly wasn't even paying attention. I mean, he missed the cut. Okay. But sometimes that's a good thing, right? Like he had a week off right before the U.S. Open. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 weeks for a guy to kind of find rhythm, right? Like That's what I said 2 weeks ago. Like, some guys like Tiger Woods can take a month off and then wham, play great. And then there's guys that generally play better their second or third week on the road. So I love Adam as a play. I mean, where his odds at? 70 to 1. I mean, it's pretty awesome odds, right? Like, for a guy that probably could have won twice already this year. So he's going to break out at some point. It's just a matter of when.
Yep. What I tell you, you mentioned figuring it out again, and I keep coming back to this because I'm looking at like Aaron Rai and his form. He was really struggling. He is kind of running. He missed 3 cuts in a row. Then all of a sudden gained 7 strokes approach at the Charles Schwab, finished 12th.
Yeah.
Struggled to miss the cut at the Memorial. Finished 3rd in Canada and 24th at Travelers. But 2 weeks in a row, he's gained strokes putting. And dude, his putting was awful. I mean, awful. Now, if you figure something out with the putter, now, again, obviously, I don't know if Donald Ross greens are ideal to try to figure something out with your putter on, but if he's found something, this guy can stripe it with his irons. And again, maybe a top 20 play, something along those lines, but he's really interesting this week.
Yeah, I mean, I played with Aaron Rai the first 2 rounds of the Players Championship this year, and I mean, after Saturday, he was like right up there with a chance to win.
Yeah, he was. I'm still looking at it right now. Yeah, and he putted. He was field average in putting this week, so he must have putted okay that week. His putting was awful after that.
Yeah, no, Aaron Rai is just a really smart golfer. Like, he hits some shots that you don't see a lot of players hit. Like, he'll hit drivers like 10 feet off the ground and just kind of run them out there. Like, he'll do some odd things that you don't see that often. But he's really, really smart, and his attitude is phenomenal. He never gets upset. Like, I never have seen the guy get mad. But kind of to a point of Donald Ross greens, the one good thing I've always kind of struggled on, I grew up at the Marion Elks in Marion, Indiana, where it's like basically a Donald Ross green, right? Like, it's just a little Army helmet. But one thing about greens like that is you always know what direction the putt's breaking, right? Like, it's pretty obvious it's breaking to the right. I tend to struggle on very flat greens when there's subtle breaks and it's hard to tell which direction putts are going. You get like an 8-footer that's like, oh man, it could go left, could go right. Like, I guess it's straight, and then the putt goes left, right? The good thing about Donald Ross green is pretty obvious what the putt's doing, right? So it's just like aim it a couple feet over here and let it sling.
Yeah, that's a good point. You mentioned young players coming on like Austin Eckroat, Gordon Sargent bursting on the scene, right? And again, another guy, 75 to 1 this week, all the talent in the world. Have you watched him? You watched him play at all, or what are your thoughts on him in general?
I've only seen him hit a few shots, and he just bombs it. That's all I know is he just bombs it. Like, I can't remember what the numbers were exactly, but they were talking about ball speed, and I was just like, God bless, this game is changing every single year with these college kids. It's just like, I mean, I saw it every year when I was on the Corn Ferry Tour. It's like these college U kids come out, and they just start hitting it farther every single year. I haven't seen a whole lot of him, but I tell you another name. I mean, I don't want to draw you off topic here, but a kid that I'd be looking at some point down the road, maybe it's this week, is Ludwig Adberg.
Oh, yeah.
That kid's good, man. Like, he played in 2 or 3 PGA Tour events early in the year, and man, he made every cut, I think, something like that. And he was just kind of up there playing well. And I was, man, that's pretty impressive for a kid right out of college. And I mean, already he's 40 to 1 odds that's in this tournament, and he hasn't played that many PGA Tour events. It's pretty impressive.
Well, and I'll tell you what's interesting. This is crazy. A buddy of mine put a request in for a bet that he would make the European Ryder Cup team, and the odds were less than 2 to 1.
Really?
Yes. How crazy is that? So, I mean, obviously somebody else thinks a lot of his game too. I mean, I would have never guessed that. But
no,
he hasn't even won a tournament yet.
No, he hasn't. But but you can kind of see it with some of these guys, right? Like, even with Gordon Sargent, you can just tell, right? Like, he's getting in majors, he's making cuts. He's playing in PGA Tour events, he's finishing top 20, like top 25. Yeah. I mean, maybe you could look there and tell me what Ludwig Aberg did early in the year, but like, maybe I'm saying his name, Ludwig Aberg.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But like, I just remember like earlier in the year when I was playing and before I got hurt, and I just kept seeing his name on the leaderboard every time he was playing. I was like, God dang, this kid's pretty good.
Here's what he did. He played in Bermuda in October 21, played the RSM November 21, missed the cut there, missed the cut at the Valero in April of 22. And then Let's see, March of this year, you were playing. So he took 24th at the API, where he gained 5 strokes putting. Played 61st the Valspar, where he couldn't chip for shit and missed some putts. 25th at the RBC, despite losing 3 strokes putting. And then 24th at the Travelers, despite losing 3.5 strokes with his irons. So you're right. The guy's
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, so the guy's played like what, 5 or 6 PGA Tour events. He's missed 2 cuts and he's got 2 or 3 top 25s. That's pretty good. Like, Am I saying that he's a good bet to win? Probably not. 40-1 odds are not that great. But like, it wouldn't shock me if a guy like that won. So I'd be looking at that top 25, top 20, top 40 bet, something like that. Top 20 bet's probably pretty good still.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm looking at something here. I'm curious to see the last 24 rounds. I'm looking at, and oh God, here's the guy I love. I love to bet. I bet this guy every week top 20 now. And the last 24 rounds, birdies are better. Their ranks: Keegan Bradley, no surprise, Ricky Fowler, and how about this name, Carson Young?
Yeah, playing really good. I played with him in Napa this year, and he was struggling. And he was kind of one of those guys that was like moderately shocking. He got his PGA Tour card last year. I don't want to say moderately shocking because the guy's a really good player, right? Like, I'm not. It's just like there were certain guys that played really well throughout the course of the year, and you're like, oh yeah, he's getting his card. But then you had guys that went, obviously we had Corn Ferry finals that play well one of those 3 weeks, and they end up getting their card, which I believe Carson was one of those guys. And we got paired together the first PGA Tour event of the year last fall in Napa. And I do like Carson's game. He's a terrific putter, and he's the kind of guy that hits one shot all the time. And he just kind of steady, goes about his round. It doesn't look flashy, but it's like he doesn't make a ton of bogeys. He kind of keeps it going. And I don't know. I know Carson very well, but I don't know him that well, like as far as playing and like, I haven't hung out with him at dinners and stuff, so I don't know his personality too well, but he's a really like consistent kind of plotter, just kind of keeps going with what he's got, and it just kind of keeps getting better, obviously.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you this, is you mentioned putting. I mean, he's gained strokes putting 9 tournaments in a row.
Yeah.
So he's really good. But you mentioned he hits the same shot every time. What do you mean by that?
So, a lot of people think that I actually had this conversation with Nelly Corda yesterday on the range.
Yeah.
And we were talking, she said she was struggling. She said it's the worst professional tournament she's ever played in, where she missed the cut last week in the Women's US Open in Baltusrol. And we were talking about like what she's trying to, she was kind of on the range. She's like, her path is normally like 1 right, and it's like 3 to 4 right. And I'm like, well, what shot do you normally hit? And she normally always, which I already knew this, but she always pretty much hits draws, but they're like this much draw, right? Very straight draws. And she was like, do you always hit draws? I said, I always hit draws. I never hit anything other than a draw, unless I have to. Like, unless there's a tree here and I have to bend it around the tree. That's the only time. Nellie's the same way. She basically always hits draws. Dustin Johnson's exactly the same way the other way. Always hits fades. Never. I mean, I saw a video of Dustin Johnson a few weeks ago where it was like, Dustin, you ever hit draws? He's like, not on purpose.
Yeah.
He's like, what? Like, never? He's like, never. I never hit draws. I only hit fades. Like, being the master of the golf shot you're good at, right? If it's a back right pin and you hit draws and the wind's blowing off the right, just hit it on the left side of the green in the middle of the green. Don't try to start it 5 yards right of the green and bring it in and hit some amazing perfect shot, right? Same way with a fade on the left side. Just, he knows what his shot shape is. He knows what his game is. He just plots it around. And then, like you said, if he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, he's such a good putter. Like, it's like Taylor Montgomery. Like, those guys don't have to hit it that good.
Yeah.
Just don't make doubles, right? Like, you're going to make 4 20-footers a tournament at least.
Well, and he's got a world-class mustache too. I mean, that thing is freaking world class.
I remember when he didn't have a mustache, and then he got it, and it was like, oh, that's a weird mustache. It kind of looks cool, right? And then he shaved it off, and I was like, man, you look like a child now. Like, you lost 10 years of your life right there.
Well, a guy that I bet you and I talked about last night, one of my favorite bomb plays of the week, he's 150 or so to 1, is Dylan Wu. Dylan Wu's 8th in the field in birdies gained. He's 5th in par 5 scoring, and he's 27th in putts from 5 to 10 feet. Talk a little about Dylan Wu and why he's a good long shot this week.
Yeah, another guy I played with. I played the first 2 rounds with Aaron Ryan, Dylan Wu at the Players this year, and both of them played terrific, and both of them like had good tournaments in the Players, which was a extremely hard golf course.
Yeah.
I think Dylan even made like double on 18 on Friday and was still in like the top 25. Like he played really nice through 2 days. But Dylan, I like his golf swing a lot. It's short. It's kind of like it's simple. He looks great over a putter. He's a good grinder. And he's the best part about Dylan's game is his attitude. He's just like Aaron Rye. Like I've never seen Dylan get mad. Like he's kind of like just a happy-go-lucky, happy to be here kind of guy, right? Where me, I'm fired up and
I was going to say
yelling.
So you play with Dylan Wu and Aaron Rye. Were you the only pissed off asshole out there? Everybody else is
without a doubt. Without a doubt. I was so mad, man. Like I hit a shot on 4 at the Players that landed on the right fringe and like kicked like 20 yards left into the water, and I'm like throwing shit up the fairways. And Aaron's like, dude, not Aaron. Dylan's like, dude, calm down. I'm like, did you see that? Like, of course I'm pissed off, right? But like we joke. He's a good friend of mine. We like to joke a lot, but that's what we were talking about last night, right? Like my odds on long shot favorite, like best odds for a long shot has to be Dylan Wu. How somebody could give him 150 to 1 odds with a guy like Ches Reavie, who almost won last week at 151. I mean, that's another guy. Like Ches Reavie almost won last week. But I don't know how you could put Dylan Wu all the way down there at 150 to 1. Like to me, it's like there's got to be some names behind there. Like he's a solid guy.
I'm just, you look at the numbers in his game, and you mentioned the Players, and I'm looking at the Players. So obviously you played with him, but I mean, this is crazy. He gained 3.5 strokes tee to green, three off the tee, gained a shot on approach, gained a stroke putting, and lost just under a stroke around the green. So really, really good all around game. And you look at his stats, he's just a good all around player. And
he is.
He's I think he's going to need that one big tournament, right, to really go deep. 10th at the Honda was good. He can go there, but man, I mean, this is a tournament. Anybody can freaking do it.
Yeah, I played with him at the Honda there too. I actually played with him the first 2 rounds of Honda as well.
God, you're his good luck charm, dude.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, my son's back there in the window up there, but yeah, apparently, I mean, I think I was talking to him after the Honda, and I was like, dude, you just want to play with me all the time? Like, I'm pretty obvious, we get along and you like to play good golf. But yeah, man, like I said earlier, he literally is steady Eddie, man. Like it doesn't really feel like there's a flaw in his game. I mean, you play with guys and you can see like, man, this guy stripes it, but he can't hit it out of a bunker. He can't chip, he 3-putts every other hole, Dylan doesn't ever seem that way. Like even when Dylan gets it out of position, he kind of just gets it back in position. He'll hit it to 30 feet, and it seems like he makes them all the time. It's just he's really, really steady Eddie, man. He really is. It seems easy for him.
Yeah, well, hopefully he comes through for this week. I bet him. I bet him top 40, and I bet him to win outright. So hopefully we can get some good karma here. So all right. So I think I know who your pick is, but your pick to win. Are we going Who are we going for your official pick to win?
Oh, this is a tough one, man, because like you can't ignore the top 8 or 10 guys in this field, right? You can't ignore Tony Finau, Colin Morikawa, Ricky Fowler's playing great. Max Homa, I know he's been struggling, but great player. Justin Thomas finally starts looking like he's kind of in better form, like he's kind of been struggling. I played with him at Torrey this year. Kind of struggled the final round. I'm going to go a little bit on a limb here, just a little bit. And I'm going to say Sepp Straka.
Oh, I love Sepp Straka. He's one of my guys. And that's your boy too. That's your boy. That's your Birmingham guy, right?
Yeah. And like another guy, like here we go. Sepp Straka hits draws on every single shot he hits. And he's got the greatest attitude. He never gets upset. And the guy loves golf. Like literally when we were living in Birmingham, he would fly home Sunday night from the U.S. Open. He'd be teeing it up with us on Monday morning. Guy loves golf, right?
Yeah.
And he's
good
won on tour.
Too. I mean, Yeah, good for me. He sucked at the U.S. Open, but man, he's before that 38th last week, then a 16, 29, and 7th. And he's had an 11th and an 8th here. I love Sepp Straka. I got to add him to my card. I love that bet. He just seems like a great dude. Yeah, God, I like that. All right, well, I'm going to add that to the card. Sepp Straka. I mean, that's a great price on him, too.
Yeah, what is it, 50 to 1 or something?
Yeah, we get 60.
60 to 1. 60 to 1.
Yeah.
And like I said, with Sepp, like, he won the Honda last year, tough golf course. And then he lost in a playoff to Mackenzie Hughes at the Sanderson Farms last fall, which is technically this calendar year. So, like, the guy's played well. I mean, and he's starting to trend, like you said. I mean, missed cut the U.S. Open, but other than that, he's lumped in some, top 10s to top 30s. He's playing well. And I don't want to just go up to the top of the list and say Tony Finau's going to win because
Sure.
I mean, if I was telling you, like, if I had to pick one person to win, I'm going to say, okay, I picked Tony Finau. He won here last year. He's arguably he's playing probably the best of everybody in the field currently. But I don't want to do that. I want to go down a little bit. I want to retract and go down to Sepp. Sepp's my man.
I love it. I love the call. I'm in on Sepp. I'm actually my pick's going to be Eckroat. I'm going Eckroat, actually.
I like it.
I think we talked about this kid, and I think maybe this week, I think he can go low, and obviously Sepp can go low, but this is the week maybe. I'm in on Eckroat. He's got a good price on him, so this is the week.
I think these guys coming out of college, they're good value bets because they haven't had a lot of tournament rounds under their belt, but they're really, really good, man. And eventually they're going to win. Some of these guys are going to – I'm not going to say they're guaranteed they're going to win, but when you scroll down this list and you look at like Ludwig Aberg, you look at like an Alex Smalley, another pretty young guy. He's been out for a few years. I mean, you look at Austin Eckroat. You start looking down this list a little bit of like some of these kids right out of college that are like pretty damn good players. And at some point, I think if you put a bet, over your life, over the lifetime, is this guy going to win? Probably wouldn't have very good odds. So at some point, they're probably going to win. It's just, when is it going to happen?
God, Dylan Wu looks like he's 12. He's 26. Yeah. I just looked it up. He looks like he's about 12.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Well, listen, buddy, tell everybody where they can find you on social media. We're glad to see you out hitting shots again. You posted we saw it on Twitter and Instagram. That was awesome. First, A, tell us how the rehab's going, and B, where we can find you and watch you grind out some more and grind your way back.
Yeah, rehab's going good. 12 and a half weeks out of surgery, 14 and a half weeks since I played on the PGA Tour, 14 or 15 and a half weeks. Rehab's going great. I'm getting stronger. It's just, it takes a lot of time for you to regain the muscle you lose in those weeks and weeks and weeks of being laid up and not getting to do much. So, I finally got cleared yesterday to start hitting up to mid irons at slow, maybe 70% speed, 60% speed. So, there's been a lot of boring days. So I've been trying to get out there as much as possible and grind it out. But, yeah, you'll see posts here and there on Facebook, obviously Erik Barnes. And then the ones I'm most active on is Instagram. So I think my Instagram handle's Erik Barnes Golf, ERIK. And then Twitter is eBarnesGolf10. And I post pretty much on those three. So those are where you can find me.
Thanks, buddy. Well, listen, I'm already going to be booking my trip to Pebble for your dub. We're going to see early next year. So I'm excited about that. We figure you'll be back by then, getting some good form. And I'm excited to see you back. I hopefully we get to see, when you're out there, you get to see you play with Aaron Ryan, Dylan Wu again, and see who the asshole of the group is. And,
hey, I've got a new perspective. I got a whole new perspective on golf now. I've been missing it for 14 weeks. So, but I will be on the ground. I will be on the grounds at Detroit Golf Club tomorrow for the Rocket Mortgage. I got to go up there.
Nice.
I got to go up there tomorrow morning, corporate event Thursday night and all day Friday. I'll be in one of the boxes, so I'll be hollering at some of the players, and I'm going to walk around and watch a couple guys. So I'll get a little bit of insight on the golf course.
Well, that'll be fun. You'll have to text me and tell me what you see out there, but.
Yeah.
Listen, I appreciate. We'll obviously have you on again soon. You're the best, dude. Thanks for coming on, and we'll do it again.
Yeah, Jeff, appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Cutmaker podcast. Again, follow us at Cutmaker Pod. You can follow me at Cutmaker Jeff. Make sure you subscribe to our Telegram channel to get all the updates we make all week long. Thanks again. Enjoy the Rocket Mortgage Classic.